Major highway closure on Oahu during the Pauahana commute. Take a look. The Pali Highway is closed in the Kailua-bound direction just after the second tunnel due to a rock slide that you see there.
Take a look. You can see that tree uprooted and blocking the right lane. Again, this is just after the second tunnel headed Kailua-bound.
The State Department of Transportation says the tree came crashing down onto the roadway just before 4:30 this afternoon. Crews hope to reopen the left lane of the highway headed Kailua-bound shortly. They're just waiting on safety crews to block off the right lane due to that debris.
There have been no reports of injuries so far.
But State Department of Transportation engineers assessed the hillside where the debris came down, and it seems they deemed it stable enough to reopen one lane headed Kailua-bound sometime soon. Let's take a live look at the highway. Cars still being directed to turn around back towards town at Waiukanaka Street.
So until crews reopen that lane, drivers should use the Likelike Highway and H3 freeway as alternate routes. And from Windward, Oahu, back here in town, a live look over Honolulu. Some clouds out there and blustery conditions today. KITV4's Carly Yoshida in today for Pete Caggiano. She's standing by with our first forecast. Carly.
Rick and Mika, thank you so much. Yes, blustery conditions indeed, and it's causing a number of things here, as we saw in that live shot. Windward and Mauka showers passing through generously and even spilling a bit over into our leeward areas, and some action in the waters as well, which we'll get to shortly. But first, let's jump into this wind advisory just extended by National Weather Service until 6 p.m. on Wednesday. This is for portions of all the islands, so we can see the highlighted areas here of the islands, seeing east winds of 25 to 35 miles per hour, and even some localized gusts up to 55 miles per hour. Keep that in mind. As well as this, winds can cause damages and impacts for us. Tree branches blowing onto the roadways, difficulty driving, torn shingles on roofs, as well as to power outages. So keep this in mind as these conditions continue throughout Thursday, and we'll keep you up to date with the latest. For now, I'll send it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Carly. Exclusive on KITV4, a determined bite squad driver chased down a car thief as bystanders videotaped the encounter in the heart of Chinatown.
KITV4's Kristen Concilio spoke with the delivery guy about how he stopped a crime in progress that police are now investigating.
Get out of the car! Stephen Flores said he left his car unattended for just a few seconds, and the next thing he knew, it was gone.
So I ran as fast as I could. I sprinted, and then I finally got to the car. I went to open the door, and it was locked. He was locked. Windows all out. Yeah, he was locked. And then I kept telling him, get out of the car.
The 69-year-old food delivery driver was picking up his last order in Chinatown when adrenaline kicked in.
And then I started punching the window.
While trying to get the thief out of the car, he yelled to other drivers,
"Everybody, do not move your car. This guy's trying to steal my car."
That's when he reasoned with the car thief to get out, and he let him go, but not without a few jabs.
And sure enough, he stopped, put it in park, opened the door, and I grabbed him by the neck.
Flores says he's still traumatized by the ordeal.
So of course you have nightmares. Nightmares say like, what if he killed me? What if he ran me over? What if he shot me with a gun? What if he stabbed me?
He ended up injuring his hand and his bad knee, but feels grateful. He was able to save his car, his life, and deliver his food. Kristen Concilio, KITV4, Island News.
So what can you do to prevent what happened to Stephen Flores from happening to you? Here's what Sergeant Chris Kim of Crime Stoppers Honolulu had to say.
I'm sure the thief saw the vehicle running, or maybe saw Uncle run inside to go pick up the food and saw that opportunity and try to run with it. If you're going to leave your car, lock it and secure it. Don't leave the engine running, and most importantly, don't leave the keys inside.
Officers say never leave bags visible inside of your car and take anything valuable with you.
The man accused of assaulting a Honolulu police officer and stealing his vehicle early this month pleaded not guilty today in court. 39-year-old Hoku Okalani Peitak is charged with first-degree attempted murder, unauthorized control of a propelled vehicle, and resisting an order to stop. He's accused of hitting an officer on the head with a metal object and leading police on a 2-hour chase that ended in front of Iolani Palace. The judge today confirmed Peitak's bail at $1 million and scheduled his trial to begin the first week of May. If convicted, he faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Meanwhile, the man accused of stabbing his wife in their Kalihi home last week is set to appear in court this Thursday. 49-year-old Jimmo Gatoin has been charged on 2 counts of second-degree assault. Court documents show he allegedly stabbed his 48-year-old wife with a screwdriver in the upper body multiple times at their Gulick Avenue home. She was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Meanwhile, he is currently being held on $50,000 bail.
Now to a number of Crime Stopper alerts. Honolulu police need your help finding this man, 25-year-old Johnny Garcia. He's wanted on a $150,000 bench warrant for violating the conditions of his supervised release. This has to do with an incident last September in Eva Beach. A resident saw an unknown man and woman leaving her neighbor's home. It was later discovered that the two had broken into the home and taken items from inside. Police located the couple and identified the man as Garcia. He has 1 prior conviction. He's known to hang around the Waipahu area.
And police are also searching for 55-year-old Brian Fisher. He's wanted on a $50,000 warrant for second-degree theft. Police say earlier this month, Fisher allegedly filled a trash bag with $2,200 worth of fragrances from the Kapolei Ulta Beauty and then left without paying. He has 26 prior convictions and is known to be in Kailua.
Police are also looking for 21-year-old Jeffrey Hu. He's wanted on a $20,000 bench warrant for failing to comply with the conditions of his supervised release. HPD says an Eva Beach resident discovered someone had broken into his garage and took a number of items. Police were called and officers were able to locate the suspects nearby. Officers arrested one of the suspects, who was identified as Hu. He has no prior convictions and is known to frequent the Waipahu area.
And HPD is looking for this woman, 33-year-old Ashley Ancog. She's wanted on a $50,000 bench warrant for not complying with the terms of her probation. Ancog was arrested in 2018 for driving a stolen vehicle in Pearl City. She has 5 prior convictions and is known to be an IAEA.
On the Big Island, police are investigating a single vehicle crash that left a Pahoa man dead. Officers responded to the crash around 7:30 last night and determined a Nissan Frontier pickup truck was going south on Highway 137 in Pahoa when it veered into the right shoulder, striking an embankment and sending the vehicle into the air. The driver, a 41-year-old man, was taken to Hilo Medical Center where he died from his injuries. The 44-year-old female passenger sustained minor injuries and was taken to Hilo Medical for further treatment. Police believe speed and inattention were factors in this collision. An autopsy is being scheduled to determine the driver's exact cause of death.
On Oahu, Honolulu fire investigators are still looking into what started a fire at a home in Nanakuli. Take a look, you can see the flames coming from the home. The fire started just before 7:30 this morning on Ulehava Street. No one was injured.
Crews are still working today to remove a luxury yacht that's been stuck in a Maui bay for a full week now. The stranded vessel is threatening marine life and infuriating residents. KITV4's A'ali'i Dukalo has the latest developments.
A crew tried pulling the yacht about a dozen times late Sunday during high tide, moving it about 10 to 20 feet.
This is certainly not the first vessel that shipwrecked in our nearshore waters, but it's the biggest and biggest disaster because of the size and volume of the vessel and the place where it wrecked.
The salvage crew, under Visionary Marine LLC, re-rigging the 120-ton Nakoa aground in Honolulu Bay Monday after rigging lines broke Sunday on its last pull. That's according to the Department of Land and Natural Resources. DLNR adds the crew is awaiting higher tides to yank out the luxury yacht, now with the help of a tractor tug from Honolulu. Area Council member Tamara Paulton is hopeful the DLNR's new director and deputy can prompt better management of ocean resources and enforcement.
They have been, doing everything within their power for this specific incident.
Paulton adds the Maui County Council could introduce legislation on the state level in its package for next year's session to improve boating laws, including addressing illegal moorings and vessels the state does not have the capacity to handle in emergencies such as this beached boat.
I wouldn't want to move forward without getting community feedback along the way. There's a possibility of having a community meeting with DLNR leadership once the boat is removed. But at this point, we're just taking it one step at a time.
State Senator Angus McKelvey represents the area and is drafting legislation urging the Attorney General's office to impose the highest fines and penalties possible. Since the owner refused to pay to retrieve his boat, DLNR took over and will bill him for its removal. Aali Iduklo, KITV4 Island News.
A measure now making its way through the state legislature aims to boost the number of teachers in Hawaii and improve their retention. The bill would create and appropriate funds for an apprenticeship program. The Hawaii State Teachers Association says every year 800 to 1,000 teachers for public and charter schools are needed. The idea is to recruit, develop, and retain teachers who the HSTA says are now at crisis level low.
We lose a lot of teachers that go into a community that they don't know. They don't have the support. So because they don't have the support, they leave. Where apprenticeship, you will have day come in, day going, you will have the total support of the whole school and the community.
The State Department of Education says it's in support of this bill.
Starting tomorrow, the electric bike and electric moped rebate program begins across the state. You must be at least 18 years old to be eligible for the rebate and have purchased your electric moped or bicycle on or before July 1st of last year. Those eligible must also provide proof of either current enrollment in school or college or prove they don't already own a motor vehicle. Those in low-income assistance programs, such as Section 8, are also eligible. Senator Chris Lee says it's all about benefiting the families who need some help.
Cost of transportation is like the number one thing that I think everybody feels when they're commuting. It costs roughly between $8,000 to $10,000 on average to own a car in Hawaii, and not everybody can afford that. So for a lot of folks who need to get around but want cheaper alternatives, this is one option that we want to provide to be able to enable that to happen for a fraction of the price that people would normally pay.
Rebates from the Department of Transportation are awarded at 20% of the purchase price of the electric bike or moped. The maximum rebate is $500. The program will max out if the $700,000 funding is depleted within the year. Those signing up will receive safety reminders to wear a properly fitted helmet and follow the rules of the road. It's been nearly a week since hundreds of healthcare workers in Maui County went on strike.
Coming up, how Maui Health is trying to fill those vacancies and the impacts to staff and patients.
Plus, tornadoes and severe winds are pummeling the central U.S. We'll show you the damage that's being done.
Now, covering all of Hawaii, this is KITV4 Island News at 6.
Welcome back. Maui County Hospital workers today continue the strike they began last week, saying they won't give up until they receive fairer wages, safer working conditions, and better benefits. KITV4's Chloe Markley shares the latest developments and how patients and staff are being impacted. Chloe.
Yeah, Mika. Well, members of the United Public Workers Union are a crucial part of the healthcare system in Maui County. And while they continue their strike, other workers who are picking up the slack say they are feeling overwhelmed as they make sure patients are being taken care of.
More than 500 members of UPW, including nurses' aides, respiratory therapists, cooks, and housekeepers, went on strike last week. The state director for UPW says Maui Health should listen to its employees' concerns so they are able to get back to work and serve the community.
Their slogan says it's our community, our foundation, our hospital, but they have no problem bringing in the help from the mainland to take away from the community.
Since the start of the strike, Maui Health has posted job openings to temporarily fill the absences. The pay is listed at $27 to $32 an hour, which UPW says is double what its workers are asking for. Werner says the new job postings are attracting workers from the mainland.
Why not just pay your employees and keep a happy morale in your hospital versus bringing in outside sources and spending more resources bringing them in? If it's a pride or a tactic that they think they have the upper hand, shame on them. Pay what we were just asking, which is nowhere near that amount.
Werner says workers already on Maui who are ready to work should be the priority. Staff at Maui Memorial Medical Center are having to do tasks that aren't in their job description. One nurse says, today at the hospital, I saw garbage bags overflowing in halls, surgical instruments sitting around that no one was aware of how to process, empty oxygen tanks no one knew how to refill, and surgeries being done without proper staff out of desperation. Another nurse says the hospital should operate as a team, and when part of that team is missing, it hurts. She says it prevents the staff from giving the patients the best care they deserve. Werner says the striking workers are a crucial part of any hospital and deserve what they are asking for.
For the hospital to run, it's a working part with the doctors, the RNs, our workers, all together to keep it up and running. You remove anything from there, and let's just be honest, it's the engine you basically took out of the car.